everybody. Unhappy Friday again. Coming to you live from the 215 to the 513. This is Unhappy and the MP, as I had the damn thing on my phone, too, so that was kind of weird. Trying to share the link because I forgot to do it earlier because I am a basket case. But we thank you for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair. Turn up the volume if you got to. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work. Crack open a cold one here on a Friday night if you've got the opportunity. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to another week's worth of hostage situation and look forward to another almighty weekend. My weekend won't really start until like noon tomorrow, which fucking sucks. I got to go into work again. I'm getting really tired of doing free shit. But such is life sometimes. We're incredibly busy, so got to do things we don't want to do. Here we are. Keenan right away. The MP is in 609. Whatever, man. It works for me. Who else is in the room here? Keenan says, what's up, fellas? Is Sirianni that boss you don't want to work with? Well, we're going to get into that in just a little bit here. We're going to try to use Leadership 101 here. We're going to start on a positive and end on a positive. So right in the middle, we're going to talk about all the fuckery.
Yeah.
Fanny joining in. Hey, cool kids. How you doing, darling? We will miss you at the Super Bowl, but I saw you had a post up. You're going somewhere for that. I can't remember what the hell it was. Dev in the room, just in time. Happy Friday, y'all. What's up, brother? Fanny says I finally made one. And
Yeah.
Fanny, the only beer I have is A&W. All right. So we had another bout of snow here today from about 9 a.m. until, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock. It dumped, 3 inches in that amount of time. So here we are, our leadership team. We all get together. You got a couple of people panicking, wanting to shut the place down. I'm like, don't. You're going to put people in harm's way by setting them out on the road right now. It's going to end by 1 o'clock. We got 3 hours to help clear off the roads. And then we get people out on the road in a better situation. Ultimately, that's the way they went. And sure enough, on the way home, the roads were absolutely clear. So thank God for that. But I'm tired of it. I'm done with this winter. That freaking rodent that you people in Pennsylvania worship in Punxsutawney, I'd like to put that thing across the damn nation. Right? I'm done. Like snow, the freezing cold, I've had it. I'm over it. How's everything in your neck of the woods?
It's just been cold. We are experiencing a little bit of a heat wave, though, a blazing, boiling 30, and so that's been making life a little bit more tolerable in that little way. I am sorry to see some puddles, which is progress. The street is damp, so the snow the snow and the ice isn't just staying there. But we got a long way to go, but it is getting there. It is getting there.
It's been a rough week. We've had a couple of near miss today and a terrible, terrible incident the other day. So the near miss today, one of my guys had a trailer backed into a door. He was going to load it, and he's got it locked out. He's got the tire chock, but because of the level of ice and everything that's out there, he went to go load, and the truck moved forward to the point where the front tires on the forklift were not on the trailer. So we had to get chains, chain the back of his to the back of another one and pull it back out to get it up off the edge. To say he probably boo-booed in his pants is probably an understatement. That was unpleasant. Unfortunately, we did have a delivery the other day from one of our bigger customers. They didn't secure the load in the back of the trailer, and they had it double stacked. And this guy decided he was going to open the doors up and then pull off to where, he was going to back into one of our doors to be unloaded. When he opened the second door, one of the loads that the pallets that weren't locked in had shifted while he was driving. And when he opened the door, the entire pallet of shit fell on him. He's got a broken pelvis, terribly broken leg in, I think, 3 different places. He had internal bleeding. So those of you that work out in like the ops world and stuff like that, when you see guys like me that are kind of a prick about the safety and stuff, this is why. This is why I'm a prick about it. You follow protocol always, and these bad things generally will not happen. So that's just the last couple of days. With when you start talking about slippery conditions, a parking lot that's not plowed very well because we don't own the property, we lease it. So we're reliant on the landlord to do all these things, and they don't do a very good job. Bad shit can happen really, really fast. So pretty unpleasant week on the work front, and it's been incredibly busy. That's why we're back here again on Friday night.
Yeah, I work the Super Bowl on Sunday. Thankfully, I have the morning shift, and so I get to actually watch the game. But yeah, I mean, for sports betting, Sunday's D-Day, and so there's not a single person who's scheduled actually off on that day, and so the parking's going to be hell. But yeah, it's going to be a war zone on Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the final portion of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is the Super Bowl. We'll give our thoughts on what we think is going to happen, but the prop bets and stuff, and that's really where I'm going to kick that over to you to help us with that, because you're in that world. And I know a bunch of them that are fun and stuff, but I'm sure you've got some insight into some other shit that's probably pretty hysterical too. So, like I said, Leadership 101. We're going to start on a positive. We're going to end on a positive. We'll sandwich all the bullshit in the middle, and then we'll call it a night. All right?
Awesome, buddy.
So let me get this. Let's get this out of the way here. Michelle, you still over there eating your mac and cheese? Her favorite part of the show, everybody. We're proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980 and reserve a private booth and or party package. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you're looking for a place to get on out and catch your Sixers or your Flyers and you don't feel like paying an arm and a leg for tickets, well, pay an arm and a leg for some nice young lady's future college degree. And head on over to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that is Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philly. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. As always, bottom of your screen, greenlegion.com. The longest tenured and best in the business when it comes to home tailgates, away road trips for the Birds. In about a month here-ish, you'll start seeing the opportunity for early bird deposits to be put in for the 2026 NFL season. We know we are at Nashville. We know we are at Jacksonville. We're at San Francisco. We are at Arizona. I don't know if Jacksonville is really a destination for you. I can tell you Arizona was awesome. Nashville is always a good time, and I'm sure San Francisco. Dallas, once again, that's the one I had to miss out on this year. Quimby was not happy with me about that, but, ultimately decisions had to be made. But keep your eyes peeled for the posts coming from the Green Legion from all of our social media and from Steph, Sam, and the rest of us as well. When those early bird deposits are going to become available, jump on it. It's usually, I think it's like a $200 a person to get in on the early bird. So if you wanted to go to Nashville and you're going to go as a couple, right? $200 per person early bird deposit, that holds your spot. Now, when the schedule gets released in early May, if it comes back and say, unfortunately, the Eagles are going to play the Titans in fucking London, right? And, well, I'm not going across the pond. We're not going to do all that shit. You can then, but, then you look and you see we're at San Francisco, for example, on a weekend that does work for you. You can shift your deposit to the San Francisco trip and not lose your spot in line. You can also get a full refund if nothing ends up working out for you, but that is only up until I think it's like the end of May, June 1st, something like that. But get those deposits in if you want to travel with us, folks. Those trips will book up fast, especially those hotspot destinations. GreenLegion.com, longest tenured and best in the business. Don't hesitate. You know what they say about he who hesitates. We don't need to go over that. All right. That's enough of all that. We're enough with the weather. I'm tired of the cold. I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of working this much. We all know I'm tired of fucking everything. Let's start it off. On a poll. Let me get over to the room here a minute here, just so we don't neglect our folks here. Lou Mancini, I'm sending Punks and Tony Phil. Hey, no, don't, because that little you keep that little bastard in Pennsylvania. The rodent here in Ohio called for an spring to start earlier, so you can have your piece of shit. We'll keep ours here.
We'll keep ours.
Yeah, Finny got him right there. Keep that rodent there, Lou. David Loeb in the room. The cold stinks. I am over it. Agreed. Keenan, pole dancing announcement from Mrs. Gilmore. Lou Mancini, he went full loud so she could hear it. I don't live in a palace, folks. Like, she's literally 10 paces right over here. David Lowe again. All should book early. Let's go. Yes, agreed. As soon as those early bird deposits become available, I recommend jumping on it. All right. So, to start off on a positive, right? Like we talked about, Leadership 101, start on a positive, end on a positive. Start positive. Those of you who are into this sort of thing, last night the NFL did its end of the year awards show. Now, these awards are they're supposed to be solely based on regular season, stats and play and whatnot, right? So, obviously the most prestigious and what ended up being an incredibly close vote, the NFL MVP, it went to Matthew Stafford last night. I don't personally have an issue with it. 37 years old, he may not put up another year where he's let's say if Mahomes rounds back into form next year, he'll be a runaway favorite, all that sort of thing. There are a lot of folks that took issue though, thinking that Drake May should have won this award. And I understand the point when you look at it from a regular season thing. The Rams, they were sitting in the driver's seat for that one seed. For a good while, and they were looking like the best team in football for a while, and then they kind of slipped down the stretch, and Seattle took off, and the Rams end up as the 5. Now it's not like they had a horrible year; they're fucking 13-4, but I guess if you were going to find a reason, it would be that, right? Where the Rams kind of slipped a little bit at the end. The Patriots, while they played an incredibly weak schedule, they were quite possibly the most consistent team all year long.
Sure.
And a lot of that due to the play of Drake May. So your Drake May supporters that think he got a little hosed, I guess maybe that's what you're looking at. Maybe it's that sort of thing. I don't personally have an issue. I like Matt Stafford. I got friends of mine who do not. They think he's overrated. I guess I can see it, but I think he's a good dude. I like Stafford. I don't have issue with the award. I don't know where did you stand on that? Do you think it should have gone to Drake May or?
So if we go by the one stat that I kind of swear by, which is QBR, I still think in that sense it should have gone to May, but in every other facet of how we kind of dictate these awards and how we measure guys, Matthew Stafford I didn't think it was particularly close, to be completely honest with you. I think that sometimes we can have recency bias, and while it's a regular season award, sometimes postseason success can creep in there just a little bit. And so I think that's what kind of
things before the postseason even starts. That's what we always get told. Whether it's bullshit or not, I don't know.
So Yeah, and the Hall of Fame's impartial. So what the real thing I want to kind of get into it is I think that Matthew Stafford was a foregone conclusion the whole time. I really do. I think if you put the tail of the tape between him and May, I mean, Stafford has like 15 more touchdowns than May. He has hundreds of more yards than May. The only thing that May beats him on is longevity in the season, but of course, we don't supposed to be voting for that. His QBR is up there, and that kind of goes to the easiest schedule, but QBR is also weighted for the strength of the opponent. So in that case, like I said, May does get that leg. But when it comes to MVP, it doesn't go to the person with the highest QBR. It goes to the most holistic player who is most valuable to his team. And you could argue that with the Rams and Stafford, you have Puka, who just absolutely went off. But as always with quarterbacks and receivers, it's kind of hard to find out where, who's really pulling the weight there. So I think at the bare bones of it, when you look at Stafford and May, I don't think it was close. I think it was Stafford the entire way, and I think those who are kind of upset about it probably had some money on it.
Yeah, and Vegas agreed with you pretty much the whole way through. Stafford was the heavy favorite. Like, even when you got towards the end of the year, he was still like, you had to put down, I forget what it was. Like, he was the heavy favorite, even in the last week of the year. So,
as he should have been.
And I agree with you. Fanny does bring up a good point. Matt Stafford had help with his wide receivers. Drake May had little to work with. Just my opinion. Stafford had better stats. We all know that. But she's not wrong, right? Stafford had, he's got Puka. He's got Devontae. Whereas May, nice tandem in the backfield with Stevenson and Henderson. And then, a nice bounce back year for Stefan Diggs, right? But nobody to the level of a Puka or whatever like that. So, I mean, I think she makes a good point. Overall, though, I agree with you. And Vegas agreed with you, too. Like, it really wasn't that close. Coach of the year went to Mike Vrabel. When you take a team that won, would they win 3 games last year?
4. I think they went 4. I think they went from 4 and 13 to 14 and 3.
Yeah, that's insanity, dude. Like, I mean, look, and I get what McDonald has done in Seattle. I'm sure, he garnered a whole bunch of. Hell, Shanahan in San Francisco with what he did with that banged up roster, albeit against the weak schedule, but that roster was depleted with injuries.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I would not have been surprised. Then Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. He was another one that I thought was definitely deserving. Overall, though, that turnaround, weak schedule or not, that turnaround with a second-year quarterback, Vrabel had to be. Like, what did your betting site tell you? Was Vrabel the runaway favorite on that one too?
Oh, I hadn't peeked at the coach, but Vrabel was largely, across the board the favorite there. And you had some whispers of McDonald, but I think when you look at Vrabel, and is he a first-time head coach? No, of course he spent time with the Titans, and so he wasn't green to the position. But the first year you're in a building. With the second-year quarterback who no one's expecting anything from, with the roster that he had to get to where he is, that's pretty damn impressive. I think, I don't really think that there was really any other competition either with the coach of the year. I think that Mike McDonald should get a good honorary mention, hey, he did really good too. But Mike Vrabel, considering what he did, no, absolutely.
What is it? It's an 18-game turnaround in one goddamn season with a second-year quarterback. That's just insanity, dude.
No, it's unbelievable.
So here's the two where I thought they were somewhat linked, and this is comeback player of the year and offensive player of the year. Once the announcement that comeback player of the year went to McCaffrey, I was pretty convinced that the offensive player of the year was going to go to JSN.
Yeah.
Personally, I think McCaffrey was the better offensive player. He led his team in rushing and receiving. Was he 1,000 in both? He may very well have been. I'd have to look at it.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey. There he is. So,
yeah, 1,000
so he was
rushing
and 924 yards receiving on 102 catches.
Yeah,
on 102 catches, dude. Look, I'm not taking anything away from what Jackson Smith and Jigba did this year. He was incredible. Even to the point where the teams were literally trying their best to take him away, and they could not do it.
Mm-hmm.
He was that good all year. He goes for 1,793 yards and 10 touchdowns. I'm not saying JSN didn't deserve it. I feel like McCaffrey was the I mean, I just feel like he had the bigger season. But like I said, I felt like these two were linked. Once McCaffrey got comeback player of the year, to me, it was a slam dunk that JSN was going to be the offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the voters are kind of looking at too. It kind of they fell seamlessly into their slots there. I think that sometimes we also forget when it comes to JSN that granted it was earlier in the season, but halfway through the season, he was on pace to shatter the receiving record. I mean, he was miles ahead of everyone else. And he kind of let up on the reins a little bit, and everybody kind of caught up. Puka made it really close. But mid-season, I mean, Puka was like 300 yards on the next guy. It was unbelievable. And so in that respect, I kind of I thought it was a conclusion in that as well. But I was really hoping that for a sliver, like one or two votes went to like Phillip Rivers for coming. It's hard, but I don't know. But if you, like the guy comes off the couch from Arkansas, he throws a couple pigskins. And then he gets his whole family another 5 years. I think he just had another kid. He has 5 more years of NFL insurance, and he has a few bruises. So what? I don't know.
The dude not only has enough kids for a starting offense, he's got a couple of reserves too. Like he
got some bench players.
Like, you're looking at him like, oh my God, get off of her, bro. Like, do you know how to stop this from happening? Jesus Christ.
But I can only imagine how that whole thing happened, though, because like Philip's just at home in Arkansas, and then Shane calls up and goes, "Hey, Philip, can you?" And he goes, "Yes, I can, Shane. When and where?" And it's just like that.
It was pretty crazy. Watch him with his double chin out there, fucking.
Dude, he throws a ball like it's a
lot of respect. Ball. Yeah, which was that was the part that was the bummer because watching him in his prime, I mean, he'd sling that ball all over the yard, dude.
Oh,
and now you watch it go, he's got no fucking arm strength. He's just kind of this oaf in the pocket,
he's like what, 44? He's up there, bro.
He's 44 years old. Yeah, that's it was impressive to say the least. All right, so offensive rookie of the year, McMillan with the Panthers. Not really much of a surprise. He had a nice season. The Panthers had a very surprising season. He was a huge portion of that. Defensive rookie of the year goes to Schweisinger, linebacker with the Browns. Unfortunately, he's on the Browns, so you're probably never going to again at this point. The worst kept, and the first award that they gave out last night, I'm glad they got it out of the way right away, was the defensive player of the year. I mean, that one, was there any question? No. There couldn't have been. Once Myles Garrett broke that record, it was over. My only bummer with Garrett breaking the record was I was really hoping he was going to do it in their 16th game played so that nobody he had an extra game, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I wanted
That's
him to
the unfortunate
get it
thing
in game 16.
That's the unfortunate thing about the 17-game schedule. And, I think it's totally fair, to be honest with you. It's something that players are going to have to deal with forever. And there's going to be a big fat asterisk next to all the records going on out. But I think considering I would put an asterisk there.
I would not. It's only one game.
A game I can make a big difference. I mean, if you give Michael Strahan another game in that season, I think he gets 23 and a half.
He fucking Favre laid down for that goddamn thing anyways.
Sure. Who's to say he gets another
That
sack?
was
You know,
such a
I don't know.
nonsense.
But this was also, by the way, a very quietly broken record. Like,
Yes. Well,
he broke the
plays for the
record,
Factory
and
of
like,
Sadness.
right. And so he breaks a NFL sack record, and everyone's like, okay,
Yeah.
good job. And it's like, what? Okay.
Give you an idea how much people really give a shit about defense nowadays, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was crazy. And so, no, yeah, defensive play of the year went to Garrett.
Yeah, there was
That's
no
not
question.
surprising. And then the defensive rookie of the year. I had seen him, Carson, linebacker from the Browns.
Yeah, Schweizer.
Obviously, I'm not very familiar with him because I can't pronounce his last name, but I think that this year's rookie class,
Cleveland, dude.
I honestly think that this year's kind of rookie class of awards and like the whole roster was relatively weak compared to previous years. I was just looking at McMillan's stats. He has 70 receptions for just over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a Carolina, on the Panthers with the midget throwing him of the football, right? Like Bryce Young can't even reach the fucking Crispix off the top of my fridge. So,
listen, he can. Kyler can't. Kyler can. He can. You got him confused.
But yeah, I mean, it's an impressive season, dude. 1,000 yards with that guy throwing you the football. That's a big year, especially for a rookie. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, here you go. Here's a great point. Lou Mancini. F that. Imagine if Reggie's season wasn't the strike year. 21 sacks in 12 games. Oh, what could have been? Yeah. So I don't know if anybody did catch it, but the fan of the year was the Birds fan. It was the Eagles fan during the show last night. It was an older guy. I can't remember his name. It was just fun to see it. And he gets this big old trophy and stuff. That was a good time. And then the Walter Payton Man of the Year, unfortunately, it wasn't Mailata. It went to Bobby Wagner, the linebacker in Washington. So that kind of wrapped up your awards. The bigger thing last night, on top of that, was they also announced the Hall of Fame inductees for this year. So your slam dunks, once the ballot was out there and you could see the names on it, your automatics were Breeze and Larry Fitzgerald. Yep. Those were no question, right? Behind that, the other guys who got in, Luke Kuechly, right? Big impact, but for a very short period of time. Adam Vinatieri, of course, the kicker with New England's first part of their 20-year reign of terror. And then he goes to the Colts and continues to have a successful career. Earned the nickname Automatic Vinny, right? Mm-hmm. And then the bonus one, which I was really happy to see last night, Roger Craig, the running back from the San Francisco 49ers years and years ago, back in the 80s. Roger Craig, for those of you that don't know, was the first guy to go for 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving in the same season. My friend Dave, who has not joined us in the show tonight, he is a 49ers fan. He doesn't like Roger Craig much. I can't quite remember his reasoning for it. I always kind of liked Roger Craig. Like, it's not like I like the 49ers, but you got to just to see that for the first time. And I was a little kid,
especially for that era. Yeah,
it was cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think
was Mr. Hall of Fame class. I thought it was, it's a great class. Breeze, Fitz, Kuechly, Vinatieri, and
you notice who's not there? Robert Kraft.
Eli Manning. Yeah, so that's where I was going next. Not surprised. We touched on this a little bit last week when we were talking about Belichick. Robert Kraft, I think he is a despicable human being. Belichick might be an asshole, but you don't hear about any kind of nasty shit off the field. He's just an asshole. Robert Kraft was caught at a massage parlor that later on got linked to human trafficking, that particular massage parlor. That's a bad look. And ever since then, it's not just the fact that I hate the Patriots. It bothers me. because rich old white guys are usually the ones behind a whole lot of that shit. And Robert Kraft fits the fucking mold. So I would bet you that instance is what kept him off. It kept him out this time around. It won't keep him out forever, but I would bet you that played a role in it this time around. That's my guess.
Perhaps I think that definitely may have played a role. But I think outside of Robert, I think I agree. I think it's a pretty strong class. It's finally good to see Roger Craig get in, so we can stop worrying about him taking away spots from other guys in the future. Because there's always that one guy who was always in the orbit.
Right.
He's like, you know what? This guy could go in. It's like, oh, this guy's been waiting for a while. It's like, fine, get him in, and then we can get everyone else in. And so it looks like a slot has opened up for someone more, bigger.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see Roger Craig go in. I am. He was a huge part of that Niners dynasty back in the 80s.
I also think that it's very interesting to see. Of course, Keeley got in, but I think that his resume really kind of sets an important precedent because he only played 8 seasons. Be it he had 5 All Pros in that somewhere in there. He had 5 All Pros, which is remarkable. And the only reason why he retired, of course, is because he couldn't stop fucking smashing people with his head. And so he kind of put himself into retirement. But no one, I don't think there's ever been a linebacker as smart as, as high as a football IQ, as aggressive, as tenacious as Luke was. I mean, Luke kind of played at the tail end, like him and Patrick Willis kind of overlapped very slightly. And so it was really interesting to see those guys kind of play at the same time for the brief time that they did. Because they're both remarkable players. And so I'm interested to see if I don't think Patrick Willis is in yet, but if Kuechly gets in, I think you have to. I think you have to imagine that at some point Patrick Willis gets in too.
And he may. He absolutely may get in. Yeah, Luke Kuechly, he plays his 8 years, never has a season less than 102 tackles. And even that year,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah. He leads the league in tackles twice, his rookie year with 164. And then 2 years later, his third year at 153. And the guy was just, he was all over the field, dude. His second to last season, 2018, his 130 tackles, 20 tackles for loss as a linebacker, right? This isn't like a defensive tackle who just busts through the line. This is a linebacker who's got some distance to go, He was the defensive rookie of the year in 2012. He was an all-pro, first-team all-pro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Second team, 2 other times.
So 7 of his 8 years he was on all-pro.
It's just insane.
Yeah. That guy, the hall was made for guys like him.
Yeah. So short career, unfortunately, due to the knocking heads like that. What an impact! Just an incredible.
I will say one thing though. I'm not sure if you want to move on, but when we were talking about the Hall of Fame last week, I really kind of kicked myself for not bringing this up. This kind of like affects me kind of in a personal way because of the fact that I kind of watched him kind of break the record, of course. But when it comes to Hall of Fame, it should almost kind of be a rule that if you are the best at what you did, you should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked. It literally applies to every other position except for some reason to Devin Hester. I think the fact that Devin Hester wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer is a travesty. He gets it on a second ballot, of course. He gets it on a second ballot, but he's the greatest returner of all time. Of course, he took the reins from Dion, who was also a cornerback. But if you're the greatest returner, if you're the greatest long snapper, if you're the greatest anything at your position, I feel like you should just be a first ballot Hall of Famer based on that. And especially if your name is Devin Hester, the fact that he didn't get the first ballot, I think is very offensive.
Yeah, I get it. I get your point. I don't think any of it garners you being, I think there's some spots. Well, I get what you're saying, and I don't totally disagree here. I think there are some positions where you're just it's not going to lend itself to first ballot type of prestige, and one of those, unfortunately, would be the return game. The kickers don't generally get in like that. You know what I mean? Offensive linemen a lot of time have to wait. It's not the glitz and glamour, unfortunately. It doesn't hit the stat sheet as hard as a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a defensive end, that sort of thing. But I get it. Devin Hester's an first team All Pro 3 times in his career. He's a second team All Pro once. He made the Pro Bowl. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. This is as a returner. Not like he was out there for his wide receiver prowess, right?
No.
All of this is as a returner. So I understand where you're coming from. I do. I just feel like there's a couple of those spots where it just doesn't. It's not the prestige. You know what I mean?
That's my soapbox, though. But Devin Hester should be a Hall of Famer. But that's my soapbox.
I think he should. He's definitely no. You'll never hear me say he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. I just don't know if I would just automatically say, well, he was the best punt returner ever. He should be first ballot. I think
he was just. I think it makes you that. I think when you think of Devin Hester, and I mean, he whenever people think of returners, they think of Dante Hall, they think of Deion Sanders, and then of course they have Devin Hester. And Devin Hester is the guy. He is the returner for an entire generation, just as Deion was for his. And so I think Devin Hester was the most talented returner, and I think I should have been recognized.
There's a little bit different with Deion, though. Deion was also the best cover corner in football.
No, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why Deion was, of course, a first ballot. But I think
Deion was unbelievable. I couldn't stand him. He was fucking incredible.
I think when it comes to Devin Hester, I think it's Devin Hester. And I think he should have got a first ballot, but you know what? He got it anyway, and so that's kind of all that matters.
I like that he's in. I thought it was fun last year. Or was it last year or 2 years ago?
Maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. All right. So that's the fun stuff. We got to
get into it. Yeah, we got to get into it now.
That's the fun stuff. So, 13 years, Jeff Stoutland is part of this franchise, right? Everybody's singing his praises 2 years ago. He's the best, the best at what he does. He's all this and that. Stoutland University. Jason Kelsey's retirement speech where he goes on and on about Stoutland U and everything. Then you get this past year where we all know the offense came off the rails, right? Patullo sucked. Nick Sirianni's got too much involved. Whatever you choose to believe is what you choose to believe. Whatever you think the problems were with the offense, it's fine. They take away Stoutland being the run game coordinator, right? He was coaching the offensive line and he was the run game coordinator. So they take that other part away from him. Did anybody see any kind of massive fucking benefit from doing that? I certainly didn't.
I read that he stepped down.
Yeah, I get it, but you have to wonder if that was kind of a, hey, we're going to go in a different direction. You know what I mean? And now here we are. So it stinks to lose Stout, right? And now I also hear that he may stay on as a consultant, which obviously we would prefer. But if he doesn't, so then he's gone. We also just had to me it feels like there's a larger issue. So Stoutland's gone, and he was like a pillar of this fucking thing for 13 years, right?
Yeah.
And you just damn near lost Vic Fangio too. That almost happened. And I think it will happen at the end of this year. This is probably it. So what the fuck? We are a year removed from being at the top of the mountain here.
Yep. And
it's one calendar year later where we're losing pillars of our coaching staff. We've got a Fangio who seems to be fed up. It feels like that's, I guess, what I'm getting at here. It feels like some of these older these coaches that have been around a while, they don't like. It feels like they're fed up with what they're seeing. I don't know, man. There's only one common denominator. It's Nick Sirianni. And, you want to tell me it's Howie and Jeff? I don't know. I guess those are the three common denominators. It's three of them. But, dude, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't. You're trying to build back to get back to the top of that mountain. And we damn near lose an excellent defensive coordinator who seemed very happy just being our defensive coordinator. Even just a few months ago, it seemed that way. And now you lose Stoutland. What's next? I don't care for this look at all. I don't like it. It makes me very nervous going into next year. You still got Sirianni, who apparently still needs a fucking bodyguard. Now you bring in the new offensive coordinator, Mannion, and
Grizzard.
He's young. He's incredibly young too, 33 years old. So what is that? Is that it? Are these older guys just like, this is a young man's game, I'm getting out? Is it as simple as that? Or is there a fuck this? There's too much chaos going on here. This guy's a knucklehead. I don't like what I'm seeing. I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. I was when that shit came out about Stoutland, I was like, what? We lose Stout? What the fuck is going on over here? And now you got the thing that you see today where Landon Dickerson.
Yep.
He was apparently a wreck all year long, yet played through it. Why? If it was that bad to start the year, why didn't you just shut him down for a little bit? Who's in charge of that? You think that was Sirianni, right? So start connecting dots here. It feels like a Nick problem. I got to be honest. It feels very much like a Nick Sirianni issue.
Yeah, I think one of the toughest things about kind of the whole Jeff Stoutland kind of the whole predicament is he was like one of the last vestiges of the Chip Kelly administration, the Chip Kelly era. Chip Kelly, of course, brings on Jeff Stoutland, and him and Lane were pretty much together his entire career. Then he brings up, of course, Jason Peters. You bring up Jason Kelsey. You bring up Evan Mathis. You bring up Alan Barber. I mean, all of these guys.
All of them.
You have
fucking Dickerson.
Wisnowski. You have Big V. You have, all these guys. All these guys. And so Jeff Stoutland was one of those guys who was worth his weight in gold, similar to Vic Fangio. I mean, you guys just sit it and forget it. And I read that he actually stepped down from kind of running game coordinator duties, some point during the season. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. My dad's a firefighter, so where there's smoke, there's fire. And so when you see not only Jeff Stoutland, who was the cornerstone of the Eagles since pretty much Howie took over the reins again, and then Vic Fangio, who's completely owned this defense for the better part of this decade, there's something that has to be going on there. And I was reading earlier today, and it goes, well, Sean Mannion and his kind of everyone he's bringing on is going to bring an entirely new offensive scheme. And if you are Jeff Stoutland and you are Vic Fangio, especially for Stoutland, since Sean Mannion would be directly influencing and impacting Stoutland. If you're Jeff Stoutland, you're in your 60s. I think he just became a grandfather. You've had your career. I'm sure he has enough money. Why would you put yourself through that much stress and that much ache to learn an entirely new offense for something if you're not 100% bones in on everything? And so I think that influenced things. I think it was things changing away from his scheme, his philosophy. He doesn't want to learn any new tricks. He shouldn't really need to have to because he's Jeff Stoutland. And then you go to Vic Fangio, and I think Fangio's departure or the drama surrounding Vic Fangio is more of an indictment on Nick than it is on anything than it was on Statland. Because Statland, you could say that it was the offensive scheme, it was things changing.
Yeah,
I think
you
Vic
could. A lot of
Fangio was just
changeover.
tired of. I think that Vic Fangio was just tired of everything. I don't think that he likes the cult, not the culture, but the environment of the team, of the organization. I
No,
think
I
he's just
think you
there
might be
because
onto
he
something
has.
with the culture. I don't think he likes it.
I think the only thing that really keeps Vic here is the talent. I think he loves the guys who he gets to coach every day. I think he
Yep.
loves guys like Carter. He loves guys like Davis. Obviously, he handpicked Jalix Hunt, and so this defense is kind of like the thing that he wants. He gets to have fun with his defense. But I think outside of that, I don't think there's anything keeping Vic here.
There's not. I agree with you. I think you're right. I think with Fangio, I think he's just fed up with everybody's shit. I think all the turnover, all the knucklehead crap from Sirianni's a knucklehead. I mean, we got to all at least admit that much, right? Whether you want him fired or not is your own personal opinion. I'm not firing the fucking guy right now. I'm not. You're talking about again.
No.
You are literally only 12 months removed from being at the top of the mountain. Okay. I get it. Last year did not go as planned. I understand. But, this sort of thing, the Fangio thing scared the shit out of me. I'll be honest with you. If we had lost him like that, all of a sudden you're scrambling for Jim Schwartz, which I don't have a problem with. I think Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. But I think Vic is better, right? I want to keep Vic. And I guess what bothers me is you're not that far away from where it looked like Stout and Vic were both very, very happy and content.
Yes, I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that really kind of
switches over that quick. What the fuck? You know what I mean? I get your point. New offensive scheme, new all this, new all that, and maybe Stoutland's just like, dude, this is every goddamn year now. I'm done. So I can appreciate that at his age. But the Vic thing, like I just said, those two guys were really, really appeared anyways, very, very happy with what they were doing in our organization. And then it feels like it turned on a dime. And now I don't know what to think anymore. I've defended Sirianni. Not like crazy defended, but like I've defended some people who want to. Lou, a few minutes ago, says Sirianni's got to go. I'm not knocking anybody for their opinion. I'm just not in the fire Sirianni camp at this moment. All right. Now, look, you come out this year and you go 9-8, and that offense looks a little too Sirianni-ish again. I think we got a big problem.
Sirianni's seat is definitely the warmest it's probably been since probably the very beginning of his tenure here. I think that's pretty safe to say. I think when you try and break down the whole Fangio situation, I think you also have to remember that Fangio is also getting up there in age. He's a guy who's tried doing head coaching thing. It's obviously not done very well for him. And so I think what you said earlier about both Jeff and Vic seeming content. I think content's a beautiful word. They kind of looked like they were done racing the other young guys, and they just were content putting it in cruise control and getting over to the side, and just riding out until whatever. And then, like you said, I think it's the cold water of both of them are seemingly unhappy. One of them is up and gone now. The one guy who was like the guy who could not leave. I mean, it kind of felt like Jeff Stout was going to die on the practice field. Like he was just going to coach until he died because that's how connected he was to the team. And to see him kind of leave voluntarily or on his own accord. So, he has every right to do that, of course.
Yeah.
And then Vic Fangio. And I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire. And I think it just puts that much of a microscope on not only Sean Mannion, but also on Nick Sirianni. Like, okay, buddy, we don't know for sure, but we're pretty damn sure that there's a lot of the changes is pushing these guys away. So in a way, we kind of chose you over Statland, and so you better hit.
You better hit, yeah. I mean, and I guess you get some pressure there on Mannion. I don't think there's a whole lot on him. from that regard. I think the spotlight is 1,000% directly in Nick Sirianni's face. You know, you got a season that went off the rails again last year. Everybody having reminiscent thoughts of 2023 again. And, they need to bounce back. Now, look, I'm not saying bounce back means you have to go win a Super Bowl, but you can't come out and look as erratic and discombobulated and everything you did on the offensive side of the ball. That can't happen again this year. New coordinator or not, that cannot happen again this year. It can't. If it does, then I think you've got grounds to fire Nick Sirianni. If what happened this past year happens again this year, one calendar year from now, you'll see me sitting here not preaching for it, but you'll see me sitting here saying, "Yeah, I can see it. Let's, maybe we should move on." Yep. Yeah. I just don't like. I don't like what I don't like this shit. Change is always difficult, and I get it. And I'm not this guy that's resistant to change, but that much, that quick, with two guys who seem very, very happy and content in their roles, not a good look. It's really.
I do think it's a significant sign of something internally for both for two guys. They have very similar kind of features in terms of their profiles, but they're also both very different. Vic doesn't have a lot of roots here. Jeff does, and that kind of changes the dynamics of what keeps them here.
And Vic so is from both, that area. That's why he was happy there.
I meant like Fangio, not Fangio. Statland has been here for over 10 years, and
coaching tenure,
right? And so I think it. Right, and so I think that their connection and roots to the team itself were obviously different, but I mean their impacts. I mean, I think one of the things that sucks about Vic the most is that Vic, when you look at the X's and O's side of everything, Vic Fangio is a innovative. I mean, he is a breakthrough, groundbreaking defensive mind in terms of the modern NFL secondary. He's the guy who
break thing.
Well, he does everything with cover 4, and he does everything with kind of brackets, and he's a master of matching coverages and pattern reading, everything like that. He is the guy who is spurring on the innovation of the modern secondary, and that's a part of the reason why you see such a good Eagles secondary under Vic Fangio. And so I think that's why that hurts. And of course, Jeff Statland is Jeff Statland, and there's not really much that needs to be said about him.
No. All right, that's your negative portion of the show, folks. That shit needed to be said. That's the biggest news coming out of Philadelphia right now is the shakeup in the coaching staff once again. Thankfully, it's happening now rather than in July. If this was happening 5 months from 3 months from now, I think we'd all have a much bigger heart attack about it. Before we get to our Super Bowl stuff, let me get over to the room here for a minute. Fanny says she was happy for Fitz and Drew Brees. Lou Mancini, I was Roger Craig playing Sandlot back in the day. I got you there, bud. Appreciate that. Lou says Sirianni's got to go. Keenan Harmon, we acquired a new director 4 years ago, and I've seen more turnover than we had in the previous 15 years under our former director. So I do believe the same thing is going on at the NovaCare complex. Nice analogy and great point, my friend. Lou Mancini ducking out. Have a good weekend. Lou taking a crack at Italian wedding soup, homemade Italian wedding soup for the first time. So good luck with that, brother. Hope you enjoy it. Lou actually invited me to a Facebook group. I think it's like Phoenixville Foodies or something like that. You should see some of the food these people put up there, these pictures of the stuff they're making. It's incredible, including from Lou himself, who obviously has some skill in the kitchen. Dude making some damn good shit over there. And then Keenan Harmon, some people don't make it easy to work for. We did have a question earlier. Well, we had a statement earlier from Dev, and then I followed up. So Dev says Carson Wentz comment pending.
Listen.
And so I went ahead and asked the question, how far in do we get before he mentions Wentz? All right. Lou making the meatballs. Yeah, dude. No doubt. All right. So, like I said, Leadership 101. Start positive, end positive, sandwich all the crap in the middle, and you leave on a good note. I know the birds aren't in it, but it is still Super Bowl weekend. Okay. Super Bowl easily one of the biggest, if not the biggest event in our country every single year, right? We all wish it was on a Saturday and or wish that the Monday after would just be declared a national holiday. I took the fucking day off. I'm just not going to work. I'll be right there on that futon, hungover and playing video games. But along with the Super Bowl comes what? It comes parties. A lot of people do going to different house parties and stuff. You got your favorite dishes you want to bring, whether it's a big fat mac and cheese, buffalo wings, sliders, all of that sort of stuff, all the good stuff, barbecue, whatever the case may be. Some of us go out to bars. We're Midwest Eagles Nest. We're still doing a little get together for anybody who wanted to. Up at our spot at the back porch. I think there's only about 25 of us getting together on Super Bowl. And we'll have some wings. We'll have some laughs. We'll all, I'll probably tell whoever. Which station is it on this year?
NBC.
NBC. So that's Collinsworth, right? So I'll be telling Chris Collinsworth to shut his pie hole every fucking 20 minutes. But especially now where sports gambling has become legal, one of the bigger things is obviously exactly that. Now, we all know that there's always the spread, which still holds strong. I think, it's still 4.5 in favor.
Still 4.5 is been remarkably resilient.
Yeah, and I'm surprised it hasn't moved at all. And the 45.5 for the over hasn't moved either. I would feel comfortable laying the 4.5 and taking Seattle. These are your obvious, you know what I mean? These are kind of your obvious things, your kind of run-of-the-mill shit. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, the real fun of the gambling is the prop bets, right? What's the over-under on how long the national anthem's going to go? What color Gatorade is going to get thrown on the coach at the end of the game, right? Who's going to win the coin toss? All that kind of shit. So, Mason, you work in this field. Why don't you give us some of the more fun ones and
sure
maybe some Vegas, little bit of Vegas edge there on which way the money's kind of flowing in on some of these things.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to. One of the first things that kind of popped in my mind whenever the Super Bowl popped up is a lot of people, of course, as we all know, wager on the coin toss. And so I was like, is there are they gonna really have even odds for that? Or are they gonna have some minus maybe? So heads and tails are both plus 100 there. So there's no shocker there. There is a market on the color of Gatorade poured on the winning head coach. I'm on Bet365's website right now. Do you want to guess what the best odds, the color with the best odds is?
So the favorite? Red.
Red was that fourth, fifth?
Fourth. Wow. Okay. Fuck that one up. Let's go with orange.
Bingo. Number one.
Yeah.
So orange is plus 240. Then it's blue at plus 250. Yellow and green at plus 260. And then we go to purple at plus 750. Water or clear at plus 1,000. Red or pink at plus 1,200, and then no Gatorade poured is plus 2,500. And for those who aren't bettors and big wagerers, for no Gatorade poured plus 2,500, what that means is that if you were to place $100 on no Gatorade to being poured and no Gatorade is poured, you get your $100 back along with $2,500. That's how odds work in sports gambling. Opening kickoff to be returned for a touchdown is plus 5,000. So again, with that rule, with the Bears and the Colts, if you put down $100 and Devin Hester takes it all the way back on the opening kickoff, you get $5,000 off of $100 wager. And then one of the things that I kind of saw, I was kind of like, maybe I'll tell my dad to bet on this because I actually really like the odds here. both teams to complete their first pass attempt. And
that's
yes
interesting.
is plus 110. So the no is minus 140. So they think it's more likely that both teams don't complete their first pass. And you had to go ahead and think like, okay, so like you go last year and a couple years ago, and how many teams that have done that before. You go back to our first Super Bowl that we played against the Patriot that we won. Of course, Carson Wentz didn't play.
There it is, folks.
I'll get myself.
1 hour, 2 minutes, and 19 seconds
right.
in, we have our Carson Wentz reference.
You have things like your first touchdown type is actually passing is the favorite. Rushing is actually not too far behind. It's plus 155. Team to record first sack. Do you know who's favorite there?
Milton Williams.
No, the team.
Oh, the Seattle.
Seattle is minus 150 there. You said they actually have a market for a player to record first defensive sack.
What are the odds on Milton Williams on that?
I don't even. Is he on here? Oh, he is fifth. He's plus 1,200.
Plus 1,200. And when we talk about the game and what we think is going to happen, I'll mention this, but I think if the Patriots are going to have any success, that pressure has to come from him in the middle. So if they're being successful, wouldn't shock me if that 1,200 paid off.
One of the things I actually learned very recently is I wonder if I can find it while I have it. There we go. An octopus to be scored.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring this up. So this is where you score the touchdown and
get a 2-point conversion. Yeah, I had never heard that before.
It's a fantasy football term.
Yeah, and so do you want to guess what the odds are on that?
For someone to get an octopus?
Yeah.
Plus 2,500.
1,700. Not that far off.
All right, so not that far off. All right.
And then you have the final score to be a scoregami. Are you familiar with that?
I am not.
So a scoregami is a score that's never happened before in the history of the NFL. And so a lot of people like automatically think that there's like not many, but there's actually a few that you'd be surprised that aren't scoregamis. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
So I do think it's interesting on the both teams' first pass being incomplete. In the fact that you have a Sam Darnold who, hasn't been exactly, in the who's who of great quarterbacks, and a second-year quarterback in Drake May, where they both may be very, very overhyped and pumped up and be a little erratic at the start. I kind of like that one, to be honest with you. Now watch, they'll both come out and throw a fucking touchdown pass in their first.
Right. So, for example, like a scoregami, for example, would be 32-22. There has been exactly 0 games in the entire history of the NFL, regular season and postseason, to ever end in a score of 32-22. Another example.
What's the plus on that for that to happen?
For a scoregami to happen. What do you think it is?
Oh God, I don't even want to know, dude. I do plus 10,000,
plus 2,200.
Oh, so they're not even thinking it's that far out of the realm of possibility then.
No, because if you think, look, I'm looking at the scores over here. 38-18 is a little obscure. 32-15 is definitely a little obscure there. 25-18, that's a little bit hard to get. You have 29-11. 33-11.
These sound like the numbers I always get in the fucking Super Bowl squares. So where Dev here brings up, oh no, it's Fanny. I'm sorry. A crazier bet will be will there be a safety? So what's the plus on that? Will there be a safety?
Oh man, let's see if I can find it on here. Oh, we have this seconds of shortest scoring drive, over under 54.5.
50. So 54 yards.
No, seconds of shortest scoring.
Oh,
drive.
seconds. Okay, I thought. Okay.
And then it's over under 54.5.
Wow, 54 seconds. If it's something like that, then you're talking about like a home run, or unless there was a turnover that put somebody right down in the red zone.
So yeah, it's over under 54.5.
Wow,
that's a tough one right there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see if there is a safety
a
on there. Come on, is there a safety? Or there's most punts and total punts. Successful onside kick recovery. Do you want to give a little shot at that?
That's got to be a huge long shot, dude, considering you have to announce it now. Nobody can do the element of surprise anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I shit. Plus, how bad is it? Just tell me.
Plus 1,500.
Oh, well, that's bad.
Not that bad. That's not garbage. That's not horrible. I thought this was an interesting market. Most consecutive completions for both Darnold and May are the same. It's over under 6.5.
Consecutive.
Yep.
I don't think either of them get to that.
You think you're gonna take the under on both?
Yeah, I don't think either of them complete 7 passes in a row. Which is what you have to get to the over.
That's a good way to look at it.
Good way to look at it. Especially going against Seattle's defense, he's not completing 7 passes in a row. That's insane.
Ooh, team to enter the red zone first. See, a lot of this is dependent on who gets the ball first.
Yeah, the coin toss. Yeah.
All roads lead to the coin toss.
Keenan
I'm trying to find a safety.
Keenan, prop bet. Will Cardi B get as much airtime as Taylor Swift got last year? Deb says he knew it was coming with your Wentz reference.
I had to do
it. Keenan, if I turn on closed captions, will Bad Bunny's performance show up in English? Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing on the safety? I was interested in that.
I'm trying to find one. We have a punt return touchdown. Oh, here's another really specific one. Any missed kick to hit a post or a crossbar. So any missed kick to doink.
To doink. I wonder what the odds would be on a double doink. Maybe we should ask Cody Parkey.
So the yes market on that isn't as bad as you think it might be, though. For any missed kick to doink. So in order to win this, by the way, because I can already see how we would settle this, it has to happen. So it's not like you could say like, oh, like if they just miss a kick, it's still a loss. So they have to
it's got to hit something. Yeah.
Plus 500.
Plus 500,
which is
that's it?
Really low.
Yeah, that's almost worth putting the fucking bet in.
Right? Missed field goal or PAT is minus 170 for yes.
Oh, yeah. These guys are missing these things all the time now.
Yeah. Pick 6 in a game, plus 5,500 or plus 550. I'm not finding anything on that safety. That's very disappointing.
Nothing on the safety? Interesting.
OT shootout of overtime. Last play of the game to be a quarterback kneel.
And I think that's how this game's going to end.
So you're going to say yes on that?
I would say yes. Yeah, I think Seattle has the ball at the end. They've of the lead, and they just kneel it out. Yep.
That's minus 200. So
yeah. So Vegas agrees.
Yeah, Vegas agrees. One of the things that I've been watching a little closely throughout the week, which has moved a little bit, is the lines on passing yards. Because, of course, as you all know, Drake May is Matthew Stafford throwing for 400 yards each game. So it's very hard to kind of keep track of how exactly he's going to do.
And he's been bad in the playoffs.
Oh, he's been garbage. For example, so the last 5 games, Drake May has gone 256, 191, 267, 179, and 86.
Boy, you know, I can think of another quarterback who, can go through a 5-week stretch like that, and everyone thinks he absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
I just can't place my finger on who that quarterback might be. Got any
Carson Wentz.
guesses?
So the over under
I mean, how many times does
take
Jalen
2.
Hurts go through spells like that, and everybody thinks he can't play quarterback? Jeez.
So
But
it
this
looks like the balancing point for both Sam and Drake is about 225.
I think that's fair. I think they both want to run the ball, right? Now, Seattle, they're used to having the two-headed monster, and now they're down to pretty much just Kenny Walker.
Right.
With Charbonnet out. The Patriots are going to come in with Henderson and Stevenson, and they're going to try to run the ball and take the pressure off the kid. But I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think 225 is definitely fair. I really wish there was something on that safety. I was interested in that. Fanny, you're getting a little crazy here now. What is it here? How about first points scored will be a safety? I mean, how long of a shot do you want to take here? That's one of those ones where you could, like, if you could find someone to take it, you'd put down like $10 and walk away with 20 grand.
Let's see if there's one here.
Still nothing on that. That's okay. It's all right.
I haven't
a couple of
found
fun
anything
ones out
on
there.
it.
That's
But,
okay. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, whether it's DraftKings or whatever the hell else.
Right now, there's only 2 players with negative odds for anytime touchdown scores, which to me is very interesting.
Kenny
they're
Walker.
both Seahawks.
Kenny Walker and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Exactly. So the Patriot with the best, first of all, of the top 5 players with the best odds to score a touchdown at any point in the game, 4 of them are Seahawks, which does not bode well for the Patriots.
So, I mean, basically what you're seeing between the spread, the over, most of these props, Vegas is telling you, we think Seattle's going to go ahead and just smack the Patriots around, kind of like a cat playing with a mouse.
That's definitely largely the sentiment coming out. But I will say, every single day I look at the spread, that New England plus 4.5 becomes increasingly more attractive, because that if you take the Patriots to cover that spread, you're still saying that the Seahawks can win by 4, and you still win that wager. Yeah. So it being at 4.5 is very interesting. And it makes you really question whether or not you think that the Seahawks are going to win by at least 5, or if you think that the Patriots, they still lose. So they're not winning the Super Bowl, but they stay within 4. I think that's a decently attractive sign there.
So, and now we can move into what we think is going on with the game here, and then we can call it a night. But I think that's a good segue into it. Because my personal belief is I think the game can end one of 3 ways. I think the Patriots could win a close game. I think the Seahawks could win a close game, or I think the Seahawks could dismantle the Patriots. I do not see a world where the Patriots are just going to steamroll Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is far too good. Could it be a close game? Sure, absolutely. And in that situation, either team could win. If there's going to be a blowout, though, and Vegas is telling you that with the props and everything else, they're telling you if there's going to be a blowout, we like Seattle to do it. My thoughts on the game, Darnold's a nice story. All right. He's played well. He played well in a big spot last week for the first time in his entire life. Right. So I'm hopeful that carries over, because I don't want to see the Patriots win a goddamn thing. I'm done with them. I like Vrabel. I like Drake May. I fucking hate the Patriots. Sorry. You're wearing the wrong uniform. I don't like any of you. I don't want you to ever win anything ever again. I had to deal with 2 decades. I'll be 47 in April, and for most of my life, the Patriots have had a reign of terror over the NFL, and I'm tired of it. I was not ready for them to be good again. Let's go Seahawks. I think what the Patriots will try to do on the defensive side is I think they will try to get that pressure from their defensive tackles, Milton Williams being the anchor of that. when you get that pressure coming directly in Darnold's face, he struggles with that, right? As most quarterbacks do, but Darnold, when Darnold struggles, it's a little bit heavier than when other guys struggle. I think what they will do is they will take their number 2 corner and use him and bracket on it in Jigba, and then take Christian Gonzalez to bottle up Cooper Kupp, which they're going to hope is going to force Darnold to hold that ball just a tick or two longer to get to his 3rd or 4th progression. And they're hoping that that gives that pressure enough time to get home. Or it forces Darnold to have to beat you with his 3rd option, which in this case is Rashid Shaheed. The only problem that the Patriots are going to have is if they don't get home and Shaheed is on a go route in man-to-man coverage against your slot corner, that's a fucking problem because that kid is far too fast and he will blow by everyone. I think for Super Bowl MVP, Rashid Shaheed is a nice, sneaky, let me put $10 on it and see what happens. You know what I mean? Because if the Pats are successful for the most part in their coverage, but they can't get home on Darnold, Shaheed's going to see the ball a lot. And he's likely going to be open. So that's the way. On the other side, I just think Seattle's defense is just far too much. And Drake May has not been good in the postseason at all. There has not been one time where I looked at him during the postseason and said, that is the clear MVP of the league. Not for a second did I feel that way the entire time. Right. There are 3 games in the postseason. I liked Travion Henderson. I like the way Stevenson runs. He runs angry. I'm a fan of that kind of shit. Nice bounce back year for Stefan Diggs. I just don't think they have enough talent on the offensive side of the ball to overcome the defense that they're going to have to go up against. I like Seattle, and I like them like 31-17.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I like the blowout.
I think if you gave me $100, I'd definitely put it on Seattle to cover the spread just to kind of put it on record there. I think the story of the game, though, I think if New England wins, in order for New England to win, they have to punch Seattle in the mouth immediately. Early. If New England trips out of the gates, they're screwed. They're fucked. They're not coming back. And that's the kind of game that the Patriots are going to have to play. Drake May is going to have to play the best game of his career, of his life, in order for the Patriots to win this one. And that's just because of the sheer math of the paper between the 2 teams. You were just talking about Rashid Shaheed and how he's pretty much the 3rd option. I also would like to remind everyone that Kenneth Walker and A.J. Barner still exist. And throughout all of the markets, A.J. Barner is actually very high up there in terms of the lines for receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, receptions. He's been a very large target for Sam Darnold. And so when you look at Sam Darnold, you have, of course, JSN, you also have Cooper Kupp, you have A.J. Barner, you have Kenneth Walker, and you have Rashid Shaheed. Those are 5 legit studs. And so for New England, that's really going to be stretched thin. And so, as always, has been a common theme throughout the entirety of the NFL season, the NFL playoffs, college football playoffs. A lot of people get distracted by the big kind of showcase and matchup between, and in this case, it'll be, can Darnold perhaps score points on the Patriots defense that completely obliterated CJ Stroud and has been one of the top defenses in the entire league all year. But I think if the Patriots do well, if they even get close to winning, it'll be because Drake May puts points on the board against the Seattle Seahawks defense that runs, and I mean, they're blessed and they're baptized on cover 2 because of Mike McDonald, and they have a 4-man rush that just won't quit. And so, if the Patriots can get home with 4 guys, it's gonna be a really long night for Drake May. They do have Joe Tooney though, the Patriots, and so that definitely are Joe Tooney is. I think he's actually on the isn't he on the Bears
Joe
now?
Tooney, Chicago,
Chicago. I was thinking about the NFL awards there, but I mean, New England's offensive line is decent, so hopefully they can keep Drake clean there, but like I said, they stumble. If they don't come out firing on all cylinders, I don't know if they recover. I don't know if I like a 14-point margin, but I could definitely see this game being something like 27-20. I think that's a pretty comfortable margin. And by the way, the over under is 45.5, and that would be just over. I think that would be just over.
Yeah, 27-20 would put you over. 31-17 puts you over. I would take the over. I probably would take the over. I would take the over and I would lay the points. And take Seattle. That's just kind of how I see it. I think, unless Darnold, that's the wild card, right? If Darnold in a big spot, all of a sudden,
both of the quarterbacks like that though. Both of the quarterbacks are. Which quarterback are we going to get?
Well, so May, May's in his second year, so he doesn't have this long track record of being a shitbag in big moments. Darnold does until this NFC Championship game when he played really well. Right, biggest game of his career, and he was there. He delivered. He did. You can't take that away from him. But is he going to be able to do it again? And I think a lot of that hinges on Seattle being able to establish I think a lot of this hinges on both teams being able to establish a run game. Right? I would agree. It just does. And that's why you see that total for the yards passing down on both, 225 is not a big number. In a league geared around passing. Those aren't big numbers. Especially
I think it just speaks to I think it just speaks to the quality of quarterback that's in this year's Super Bowl.
You got a second-year kid who's looked like shit in the playoffs, and you got a guy who's kind of, he had a great NFC Championship game, but he's
a career average guy.
Yeah. He is. Yeah, history would tell you he's much more of a backup than he is a starter overall. Yeah. Although he's won 28 games the last 2 years in the regular season. Right? And now here he is in the Super Bowl with a chance to put all those ghosts. Like the way I tied that in. Put the ghosts to rest.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
All right, so Mason likes it 27-20 Seahawks. I like it 31-17 Seahawks. I like it a little bit more of a blowout, but overall, it's kind of the same story, right? We expect Seattle.
I think the MVP is JSN, by the way.
And I can totally see that, because as much as I mentioned how I think the Patriots will approach covering him, how I think they'll approach the coverage against Seattle as a whole, where you take your best corner, shut down Cooper Kupp, bracket with JSN. JSN throughout the course of this year has pretty much proven to be bracket proof. Almost 1,800 yards and 10 touchdowns. You're not, he's dogging a lot of this because of his speed, his route running. A lot of the
very savvy guy.
A lot of the same compliments that we always pay to Devontae Smith.
Ooh, yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba is the same type of guy. And so here he is on the big stage. And I agree with it. That could very well be your MVP.
I will add one more thing to JSN being MVP. I think if this is a low scoring game, it really goes in JSN's favor.
Absolutely.
The last time a receiver won the Super Bowl MVP, do you remember?
Last time the receiver won the Super Bowl MVP. Wow.
I'll give you a hint. It was recent. Some would say is a forgettable Super Bowl.
There's been a few of those. What is it? That Patriots-Rams Super Bowl?
It was Julian Edelman when the Patriots won 13-3. Julian
that was
Edelman
the worst fucking game. Worst Super Bowl. I fell asleep during the Super Bowl.
But I think that goes to show that if the Seahawks go off in scoring, and you see Sam Darnold throw 4 touchdowns, and you see Sam Darnold throw for 250 yards and 300 yards, four touchdowns,
he's going to win the MVP in a landslide.
Yeah. But if this is a game that is 20-10, and Darnold has 2 touchdowns, JSN has one of those for 110 yards,
yeah,
that gets a lot closer.
And then you start wondering where's Kenny Walker's line, right? What has he done in that low scoring game, right? So that's where that opens up. Yeah, any kind of high scoring thing where Darnold's thrown 3 touchdowns, he's going to win the MVP, right? Because they like to hump the quarterback's leg every fucking year. So, I mean, MVP of the league, MVP of the Super Bowl. It's always the quarterback. It's
the singular annoying. It's the singular most important position in the entire game, to be fair. But
yeah, I know. It's still fucking annoying.
It's the only position to touch the ball every snap.
Well, the center does too.
That's true.
All right, final thoughts, brother. Final thoughts. Anything but Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. No. We started out with the Hall of Fame, of course. We saw no Patriots in this class, which is very interesting. But Breeze and Fitzgerald. Oh yeah, but he was a Colt too. We don't see any dyed in the wool Patriots in there. So when we see Breeze, we see Fitzgerald getting in, which is nice. Luke Kuechly still somehow has his head attached to his body, so he was able to make the stage as well. And so that was all nice. Guys, I kind of grew up watching a little bit, so outside of Roger Craig, of course. And so Jeff Stoutland, Vic Fangio, definitely smoke that lead or that implies a fire in the organization. So you're definitely going to have to put on the gas mask and step inside the house to see what the hell's going on there. And then, of course, the big game is only 2 days away. I'll be on the front lines of it. It's going to be a game where the Patriots have to start off hot. You got to punch them in the mouth, and they got to stay on the heat. And if there's any coach I would expect to do that, it would be Mike Vrabel. And so I think that the Patriots have a good chance of doing that. But if they don't, they're going to get rolled. And if it's a low-scoring game, you might see a player that's not a quarterback win MVP. It might be that kind of Super Bowl.
That'd be great.
If you see Darnold throw 3 touchdowns and then they kick 2 field goals and then May scores a garbage touchdown to make it 27-20, you might see Sam Darnold not only with a ring, but as a Super Bowl MVP, my God, that will be a fucking trivia in 20 years.
Talk about a redemption story. My God. Yeah, I'll echo a lot of that. Seeing Roger Craig get in. I don't know if anybody's seen his reaction when they knocked on his door. It was Ronnie Lott that went.
That's awesome.
To Roger Craig's house, and just the excitement of his family, of Craig himself, was really cool to see. I loved watching Luke Kuechly. I wonder, NFL, they do things a little bit differently. So even guys that don't have the overall career stats, they look a lot at the impact of the time that he played. And, that guy is a poster child for shorter career, but massive impact. Automatic Vinny. Yeah, every year. Automatic Vinny. Dude, I mean, the guy was about as money as you could get, both with the Patriots in the first half of their reign of terror, and then later on with the Colts. Larry Fitzgerald, he's second all-time in receiving yards. The guy is about as slam dunk. He's the epitome of consistency. Did it all with the Cardinals. Makes one Super Bowl. Unfortunately, does not get the victory. The fucking Steelers win. But it wasn't his fault. That's for damn sure.
They had that one play.
Yeah, Drew Brees is second all-time in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and completions.
Drew Brees is Drew Brees.
Nuts. Yeah. Yep. Great class. I didn't have any trouble with the awards going either. I've got a massive problem with the smoke and fire in Philadelphia right now. I guess we're going to have to just see how that unfolds as we move through the summer and move on towards the draft. We do have the combine in 3 weeks. I will be there. So we're going to start looking at what offensive line and or tight end targets that maybe I need to pay a little bit closer attention to while I'm down there. And then we'll kind of go from there. And then, the big game, dude. It stinks that our birds aren't in it. I got it, man. It sucks, but it's still a time spend with some friends, spend with some family, throw a few beers back, have some food, have some laughs, have a good time. Tell Collinsworth to shut his fucking mouth 4 or 5 times. It's still going to be it's still a fun evening, right? It's still the biggest event in America every year. So on that note, folks, get yourselves on to the weekend. Get yourselves prepared for your Super Bowl, whether you got food to make, beer to buy, a keg to go get, whatever the hell you're doing, go get it done. and be ready. I would say don't do anything I wouldn't do, but I'm going to go tie one on Sunday. So, enter at your own risk. Don't get behind the wheel. Okay. Super Bowl for the police is also treated like New Year's, like the night before Thanksgiving, like St. Patrick's Day. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do any of those things. Use Uber, get a designated driver, do what you got to do to keep yourself safe. We love having you here every week. We want you back every week, right? That includes the two of us. So enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the big game. Have all the fun. Just remember, the judge might be hungover too on Monday. That usually doesn't go well for anybody in front of him. Until next week, folks, we'll give reactions on the Super Bowl. Start looking at what the combine might look like, and then we'll start marching towards the draft and March Madness. But until then, folks, take care. Have fun. Stay warm. Stay dry. And as always,
Carson Wentz, go Birds.
go Birds. Son of a bitch.